Our travel day started with an early morning flight out of DC all the way to Fort Lauderdale, and I was so happy to see upon landing Celine and Gracie from Podium Pop as I picked up our rental car that I did not use all weekend. We were absolutely starving, so we took ourselves to Waffle House and we had a delightful lunch as a delightful little group of friends. And then we went and drove ourselves to the Williams Fan Zone in South Beach, Miami. All along this little outdoor mall area, there was a bunch of activations and merch stores and stuff for all the various F1 teams. This is why we really came, though, because Williams really puts on a pretty good show with these fan zones. There was a delightful little show car. There was a lot of merch that I wasn't able to buy online because it was sold out, super limited edition type stuff. Kind of the whole reason why we came, to be honest, was that I really wanted this 55 hat because it's the first one that Williams has put out with Carlos's specific logo on it. Speaking of hats, Celine had painted this gorgeous Alex Albon hat that she was so excited to wear, and there was a lot going on, and there was even a little sim setup that we checked out.
So we have two driving styles here. We have this guy who just refuses to brake at any cost. He'll just bounce off the wall and find his way back on the track. And then Gracie, who's driving like it's literally the road. Like she sees speed limit signs that don't exist. And she's just trying to like stay in her lane.
Unprompted, the lady at the Williams Fan Zone taught us how to cheat so we could get these little koozies from this activity you were supposed to do all around the fan zone, getting all these QR codes. She's like, yeah, they don't really work. You can just do this, and like showed us how to cheat. That's me doing a pull-up bar. Then here's some more of the activities they had. They had this like reflex thing. I mean, like, I'm just not getting any of these. It's actually laughable looking at it, like how far I am from touching them.
Oh, you're good. Go straight.
I feel bad people are mean to this.
Go. That way. Buddy, you got it.
Next, we went to the Mercedes pop-up, and honestly, compared to the Williams one, this bitch was so empty. There was nothing going on. It was literally just a merch store. They chose like a space that was like way too big, so it looked so empty in there. They had this, I don't know, this little WhatsApp mobile. It's a little car. I don't know. Don't fucking touch it though. And the only thing that was cool about this was that they had this little pit wall that you could take pictures at. I mean, literally, like, I just use this for Instagram photos. That's basically it. But they did have all their pink merch, and honestly, some of it was really cute, some of it was really ugly. It's really no in between with Mercedes merch. I did not like the one with the pattern on it, but whatever. And then we made a last-minute stop at this little merch shop because they had half-off Oscar Piastri hats from last year, which is actually the design I preferred to this year, and I was so excited to buy it, and Celine bought one too, so we matched. Haha, cute.
They like really know how to party in Margaritaville.
That's right. We went to Margaritaville for dinner. Are you jealous? I know you're jealous. Okay, we roll up, and this Margaritaville was in the nicest, most stunning, most beautiful resort ever. They had an outdoor concert going on. I literally was like, why are we not staying at Margaritaville? So next time I go to Miami, you guys know where I'll be up. But we went to Margaritaville, we got dinner, we got margaritas, you bet. I got a watermelon one. Oh, it was so delicious. We had the most delightful server. She took delightful care of us. Love you, Linda.
Are you getting a cheeseburger in paradise?
Honestly, yeah.
Honestly, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Okay, so we have one little liar here. Because we all said we were gonna order a cheeseburger in paradise, and then this girl orders literally a Wagyu sandwich because she's too good for a fucking cheeseburger.
It's $2 difference. You think I'm gonna get a cheeseburger?
What kind of Wagyu do you think it is? It's $2 different. Yeah, what kind of Wagyu do you think is $2 different? Be serious with me, Celine.
It's for Jimmy. It's for Jimmy.
Jimmy doesn't care about the fine things in life. He would never order the Wagyu. He would always order the burger.
I couldn't not order it. I'm sorry.
The next morning, we took an Uber to the track, which ended up being the best way for us personally to get to the track. Our Airbnb was only about 3 miles away. It cost about $11 to $15. We got there early enough that there wasn't a lot of traffic, and we were able to get into the gates pretty easily. As long as you have the right bag and you follow the bag policies, it's not too hard to get in. We ended up walking around a little bit before Celine and Gracie came because they were at a different gate than we were. They took the shuttle. We went and took these little bridges over to go meet where they got dropped off. And we had one thing and one thing in mind. We had a celebrity sighting to see. You look lonely. I can fix that. We spent almost all of day one just in this beach grandstand area, which ended up having basically everything you could ever need. There was tons of brand activations. There was a merch store. There was an amazing food hall with a bunch of food from local places. This is me doing a fit check outside of said food hall before everybody got there. I wore my little Carlos Sainz fit. Ended up being kind of bad luck for him. Sorry, LOL. We ended up then going to our seats. We were sitting separately from Celine and Gracie, but they came and joined us for this first part of the day because the stands were pretty empty still. We were in North Beach Grandstand 7. We were in row 19, which was perfect because it was covered by the overhead. We weren't in the sun, and we just enjoyed our little time watching practice. You know, practice isn't that interesting in person, but it's nice just to get to see cars on track for the first time during the weekend. And it was pretty full for a practice session, I would say. For lunch, I got empanadas, but Valentino and Miss Ash Vandelay, who's kind enough to let me film her food, got some sort of chicken meal from a local Cuban restaurant. It was very filling, Val said. And then this was around the time that F1 Academy started getting on track for their practices, and it was really great getting to see the F1 Academy cars on track. They're such a different size than the F1 cars, and they have a very different sound, and I don't know, it was really interesting getting to see them race in person as opposed to on the TV. We then went and walked our way towards the stadium because I really wanted to see the stadium. So that required us going through this little East Campus area. There was so much going on in here. There was this little Hendrix gin bar that had music playing and like performers going on. And then we walked over another bridge over the track. And on the other side, we found the Paddock Club. But this kind of seemed like the entrance that like people that had Paddock Club passes, but like weren't actually drivers or celebrities would use. This seemed like VIPs related to like the sponsors and stuff, but like this isn't where you would see like Charles Leclerc clocking in. Okay, that's just not what this kind of entrance was. I think I did see that entrance another day when I was by the F1 Academy paddock, but that's not the point. We also got to walk through this Porsche like paddock. They were racing this weekend. These little cars are so loud, and there really is so many of them, and they were zipping around track all weekend. It was pretty cool to just see. This kind of reminded me of like the Daytona 24-hour type of paddock where it was like you were seeing everything. You were seeing the inside of these cars. You could have walked in there and walked out with a piece if you were crazy enough. We also got to walk past where all the Hot Laps cars were being held and prepped, and it was really cool to see the special wraps that matched the special liveries for some of the teams. And it was really awesome that they had this out. There was a lot of really dedicated car people that were really enjoying the up-close access to look at all these really special sports cars.
You know how it is. I'll get a hot lap next time, you know?
So anyways, we headed on our merry way towards the stadium. This is probably the most unique thing about the Miami Grand Prix. First of all, the Miami Dolphins Stadium is really nice. It's very pretty. They have it all done up very tropical-like. And there's these amazing escalators that take you up to the 300 level, which is where you can overlook the paddock, which is so unique. No other racetrack that I know of do you get to see the behind the scenes. The whole point is that it's exclusive and behind the scenes, and I'll never be able to see it. Yet in Miami, if you buy a $300 campus pass, you could sit up there all day and watch on the ginormous screens the race, while also getting to look below at all the teams and all the celebrities that are walking around the paddock, which is super cool. But speaking of celebrities, in the paddock, we ran into our friend Piper, who is super cool. We met her on TikTok, and she just happened to be walking past with her family. She was also kind enough to give me a bracelet, even though I had nothing to trade it for. I'm sorry, girlies. I never have bracelets, but I appreciate you guys letting me have one because I love to like add them to my little bracelet stack. But she was so nice, and I hope she had a good time with her family. Nice to meet you, Piper, if you're watching this.
I want to go to there.
There she is, ladies and gents, the beautiful paddock. So we actually sat up here and watched the rest of the F1 Academy qualifying, which was really great. These screens are absolutely ginormous. And then we got to take this delightful little curly cue down the way. I don't know how else to explain it, but this is how you get from the 300 level back down to the ground level in the stadium. It's really great. You get a view of the track up here that's pretty sick, and it's also a great view of like the Miami skyline, I guess, is probably what that is in the distance. And it was super fun. You just gotta be careful you don't like tear your ACL or something going downhill like this. We walked all the way back to our seats in the beach grandstand. This time it was absolutely packed for sprint qualifying, and I have to say, I think it's pretty unusual for the stands to be this packed on a Friday. It was insane. Celine and Gracie had to go sit in their normal seats because there was no empty seats around us. Sprint qualifying was so much fun. We got to see Kimmy get his first pole. We went out and lined up for the shuttles. I have to say, these shuttles are so fast. They get you loaded up and they get you to your destination pretty fast. If you're going to Miami, just use the shuttles. They're absolutely great. I will say, though, they had us walk between these shuttles to get to the other shuttles. Just breathing in exhaust, breathing in straight bus exhaust. Nothing's more delightful on a 90-degree day than some bus exhaust. I don't know, I just complaining for no reason. The buses are pretty great. Get loaded on. We waited for, 25 minutes, absolutely tops. And then they have their own special highway lane that they take to be able to get out of the venue very quickly. If you're driving yourself, you are out of luck. The shuttles get priority and they're really great.
What you watching?
I got my Pooter games on here.
Oh, you-
Super brother doesn't shoot. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching.
Once we got to the shuttle stop, we did have to wait a very long time for an Uber, and that is not everybody else's experience. That was an us experience, okay? Our Uber driver, he just kept missing his turn, okay? And we took an Uber to the nearest Chick-fil-A. We were very hungry. We needed dinner.
Okay. I got the Cobb salad.
Okay.
I spelled my name wrong. My fake name.
Selena.
I'm Selena.
Why did you give him a fake
I
name?
always do. They never know Celine.
Do you think you're famous or something? You gotta give him a fake
Yeah, I want
name?
them to know who I am.
Okay, fair enough.
Then I got some fries.
Okay.
And then for my salad, they gave me two. They are so sweet. Avocado lime ranch.
Stunning.
And then for my fries, I got some Chick-fil-A sauce.
Oh, cute.
And a large Coke Zero.
Okay, we'll update you guys when the rest of our food gets here. What'd you get?
I got a Chick-fil-A sandwich, extra pickle, a fry, and a Dr. Pepper.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay. Okay, team. So we got a lot here because we're very hungry, but this is for Valentino. This is a spicy deluxe with pepper jack.
And cheese. Oh, yeah, cheese.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then a large fry for him. And then we have 2 Chick-fil-A sauces. Okay. And some barbecues. Is this you as well? Wow, that's exciting. Okay. And then we're gonna share this large mac and cheese. Then I got a 12-piece nugget with fries and then zesty buffalo and garden herb ranch. You guys understand. Zesty butter.
Very nice.
The next day I got off to a little bit of a rough start. We got dropped off at a very strange place because our Uber driver was just getting pissed off because of the traffic, and he was like, here, this is where you get out. And I was like, this isn't actually the drop-off area. And he's like, I don't care. This gate was way busier. We did get in okay. There was a little bit more of a wait because a lot of people had illegal umbrellas. We, however, had ponchos because it was pouring rain. We came just in time to watch some F1 Academy kick off for the day. There was like a little Heineken viewing area that we hung out in to kind of shield ourselves from the rain a little bit. And it was actually pretty great because they had a bunch of TVs and everything so we could see what was going on. The rain was kind of on and off, and the poncho was totally fine when it was raining out, but the moment it would stop raining, it was so hot and so muggy out. I started to remember why the weather in Florida can be so miserable sometimes. Luckily, I had this fan. Highly recommend if you're coming to the Miami GP, you need a motorized fan, you need a backup fan, you need a fan that backs up for your backup fan in case that fan dies. We made our way back to our seats, and it was super rainy, but the sprint race was about to kick off, and there was just a perfect little gap in the rain for the sprint race to happen, and it ended up being such a crazy watch from where we were in the beach grandstands. We were right where all of the fun passing was happening. We happened to be right in front of where Fernando Alonso crashed. I kind of felt bad when he was getting out of his car, because then it was like everybody in our stands, we were like standing and filming, and I kind of felt like so aware in that moment of like how close you are as fans to these people that are, having probably one of the worst days at work, and we're all just like cheering for him. And I don't know, it was kind of sweet because everybody in the stands was really excited to see Fernando, and Fernando probably doesn't care, but it was kind of the closest I've ever been to the action, so to speak, in an F1 race, and it was very humanizing, to say the least. But as soon as the sprint race was over, we had to hustle butt towards the stadium because there was a really cool opportunity to meet a bunch of other women who make motorsports content at the Fan Behavior Meetup. Fan Behavior is a Formula One podcast hosted by two women that has a massive following, and they host a meetup every year at the Miami GP, and Celine and Gracie had went last year and said it was a bunch of fun, and I'm so glad we went. Not only did we get to see Fan Behavior in person, which was really great, we also got to see people like Motorsports Mare, who I've known for a little bit off of TikTok, but I've never gotten to meet in person. I also got to meet F Everything Sam and Podium Queens, which are people that I had never met before, and it was great to put some faces to some names and make some connections. And we talked a little bit about content creation and podcasting. I tried to get them into IndyCar and NASCAR, possibly to no avail, but it was really fun, and I'm glad I got to see them. There was a great place in the stadium to listen to some interviews and some activations that were happening, as well as to eat. There was a food stall. I will be honest, this food was kind of horrible. There was a guy who kept eating French fries off of the food as he was serving it. That was pretty nasty, and there was like no toppings for the burgers. But sustenance is sustenance, and we got some food, and we headed over to the beach grandstands right as the sun started to peek out for qualifying, which was really exciting. It was getting hot though. Okay, this is when it started to get very warm, very humid, very quick, but the DJs were keeping the mood up at the beach grandstands. We then got to watch a Max Verstappen masterclass. He absolutely killed it in qualifying and put it on pole, which I would say was pretty unexpected. I don't think anybody really had their bets on him going into this weekend as much as the McLarens. And so it was kind of exciting to see like, oh my gosh, is somebody going to beat out his time? And I don't know, it was pretty interesting getting to see both the sprint qualifying and the regular qualifying session. It is really hard to follow in person. I'm grateful for this screen, but it really doesn't tell the whole story. So I had to go home and rewatch it, to be honest. And then after that, we loaded up again onto the shuttle buses, and we took them to the shuttle stop for the day. And we were hungry, we were hot, and we were tired, and we had one thing on our mind. You see, Carson Hocevar got pole that day, and there was only one restaurant I wanted to celebrate at. That's all I wanna do is ride the
Okay, so ranch. They didn't fill the ranch all the way up, by the way.
No, she drank it.
I did not fucking drink it. Stop lying.
I saw her put a straw in it and suck it all up.
Rude. Anyways, ranch, guac. I love Chili's ranch. The shit is delicious.
We're talking about it in line.
Chicken bacon ranch quesadillas. We have a triple dipper, burgers, egg rolls, just the regular mozz.
Yeah.
You got the Nashville hot tenders and the Nashville hot mozz?
No, the honey chipotle tenders with the Nashville hot mozzarella and then the little burger sliders.
Okay.
Yeah.
First one ever?
First one ever.
Okay. And she's got fajitas coming. Okay, did we get steak?
Yeah.
Just steak, not a combo?
No, not a combo.
She knows what she likes.
The next morning we got there pretty early because there was a lot that we hadn't yet seen of the Miami GP campus. So we had hung a lot around the beach grandstand area where we were sitting, and also the East Campus area, which was just over with a bunch of restaurants and stuff. But there was a whole marina section, West Campus. There was a lot that we hadn't seen. We came in, and it also happened to be the perfect time to go visit the F1 Academy paddock. The F1 Academy paddock is open at kind of strange times because it has to be when there isn't, cars on track. If you go in the paddock and there's no cars, it's not open. And it also, is tough to get there when there's F1 sessions going on and there's a lot of people milling about and you want to actually, be near your seat. So this was the perfect time. We got there around 10:30, opened at 11. We got to see a lot of drivers walking in with the Netflix cameras for the day to talk to their engineers to get everything set up for the race later that afternoon.
Slay! Slay!
Finally, the gates opened and we were able to walk around without a lot of crowds and get pretty up close and personal to see them setting up for the day. There was lots of pieces to be put on these cars, and it was really cool to get to see all of it up close. There was also a lot of Netflix cameras around. Almost all the drivers were mic'd up with cameras following them. So I'm curious to see how the first season of the Netflix show goes, because clearly they're already filming for a second season. And I also got to see a lot of other content creator friends that were, taking content of F1 Academy. Some of them were even partnered with F1 Academy, which is really cool to see how much they work with TikTokers. And here's me with Chloe Chambers' car. Love you, Chloe. We then found our way over by the podium, which we were kind of scoping out for later in that day because we were pretty sure we were going to try to make it there. There was this massive Liquid IV race house, which was honestly so sick. If I was an influencer, this is where I'd want to be hanging out. And they were also giving away free samples of their F1 mystery flavor, which me and Valentino were happily willing to try for them.
Okay, so it's mystery flavor, and I guess you're supposed to guess.
It's definitely a tropical. I want to say peach.
It does kind of give peach vibes. Do you really think that their mystery flavor would be the same as the V-Car peach?
Yeah,
They both did peach.
Maybe it's got lazy. I don't know, but
I mean, it's good. It definitely has like kind of. I've never had Liquid IV before. It kind of has like a very like electrolyte-y taste.
Yeah, it is.
It's not bad though. It's like just different than like a Gatorade or something. It like.
yeah, I would say my money's on peach, or like they're called like tropical vibe or some.
You know what it reminds me of? This reminds me of like those Propel waters, like the Propel waters that like you used to get in like grade school.
There's definitely a lot more like salty or like electrolyte-y. So.
Yeah. It's not bad though.
Yeah, my money's on peach or tropical vibe. That's the.
Both of those. Tropical vibe is literally like a Celsius flavor.
I know, but they can steal that tropical something. Tropical.
Shout out Liquid IV. Next time, can I come in your little race house? It's kind of sick. I kind of want to be part of it next year. Let me know. Just reach out.
This is around the time that Selena and Gracie showed up from their shuttle, and so we met up with them and went through the F1 Academy paddock again because why not? And they wanted to see Chloe Chambers' car too. And then we went on a walk over to the part that we really had never been to, which was like the marina in the West Campus area. The marina we ended up not being able to really access. It was a lot of this stuff was like shut down because this is kind of where like the true paddock guests come in. But we did find this great place for lunch. I got some El Pastor tacos, and then Valentino got some sort of Korean fried chicken with caviar on top, which I just was like, why are we getting caviar at a racetrack? But he was down, he liked it, so who am I to judge, I suppose. And this was just in time because it really started to pick up the rain potential.
Okay, so it's about to rain, so we're prepping. We have our ponchos, and I'm putting everything in the bags. They're like the clear plastic kind, so they're fine with the rain. It gets very chaotic when it starts raining. They don't allow umbrellas, and a lot of people don't have ponchos, so people start getting crazy to find a place to shield themselves from the rain. I also just got a text from MJ that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is here in Miami, so maybe we'll see him. We'll say, love Dirty Mo, love all your podcasts, would love to, have a Laps Down Dirty Mo Productions podcast someday. You know, we are open to those partnerships. So, you know, looking out for Dale Jr. I got my business cards ready. So yeah. On that note, I'm going to put my phone away before it starts really raining.
On our way to the seats, we got to see these Lego cars. Little did I know how important these would become in just a few short hours. We walked all the way to the beach grandstand, and just as we sat down, boy, did it start to pour, which was honestly really such a bummer because I was so excited to see the F1 Academy race, and I think a lot of people were. The stands were like packed, and then once it started raining, people started dipping. I don't know where they went, but we did get to see this amazing drivers parade. Honestly, this is one of the most iconic things. Like, I feel like for years to come, we're going to remember this Lego car drivers parade, and I cannot believe I was there to see it in person. It was so funny, and I absolutely loved it. And then I got a text from a friend, Jess, who was like, hey, you want to meet up? And I was like, of course. She was doing a super sick partnership with Visa Cash App Raising Bulls all weekend. So I was just grateful I was able to say hi to her, and this is one of the best parts about coming to a race. The race from the beach grandstands was just absolutely amazing. We got to see so many amazing overtakes. We left with about 15 laps to go to the podium because it was definitely going to be an Oscar win, and I just had to be there. I was all decked out in my Oscar Piastri stuff, and I was so excited to see him take that top step of the podium. It's honestly crazy to see one of your favorite drivers continue his lead in the World Championship to achieve a 3P, and I'm just saying it now, guys. This is the year of Oscar Piastri. I love this guy so much, and I am really hopeful that he's our world champion. But I had the best time at the Miami GP. I would do it 100 times over. This was the best experience, and I really can't express that enough.
Well, y'all, Oscar's still in the lead, and I think that my curse of wearing merch of my favorite driver is broken. Also, I think this is a good place to end the vlog. I had a great time in Miami. I think I want to come back every year, but I may be too poor to do that. And be sure to like and subscribe. Laps Down. Smell you later.